Guys, this is Joe just popping in to ask if you've signed up for your free marketing consultation with MDT Marketing yet. If you haven't, head to mdtmarketing.com/edup, submit your information, get your free consultation today. Don't do it alone. Find the right partner. Welcome back, everybody. This is the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. Dr. Joe Salustio here with you again and again and again. As you know, we've recently passed 80,000 downloads of this podcast. So honored that you've listened. You know, we're writing a book on the future of higher education as a story told by 100 college and university presidents, maybe more than 100 if we keep bringing in amazing folks like the gentleman I'm going to speak with today. A lot going on at the EdUp Experience. I hope you saw my recent LinkedIn post. You know, we want to celebrate our success with you. So if you've ever thought about starting a podcast and don't know where to do or where to go or what to do or how to do it, come co-host with me instead. Sit with me on this recording. We'll interview somebody together. You get a little taste of what it's like to podcast. I'll bring you along, and we get to bring in your questions into these episodes. So if you want to come along for the ride, please do so. Remember to head to our website, www.edupexperience.com. Give us a rating and review right on our website. You don't have to go to Apple. Review us on our website. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for the 5 minutes you might have to help us along. Okay, that was one breath. That was just one breath. Imagine if I take 3 breaths, I could keep going here. But I'm not. Instead, I'm going to interview my guest today. His name, wait, let me start over. Ready? His name is Dr. Chuck Johnson, and he's president of Vincennes University. Chuck, welcome to the show.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. That was an abrupt. I got to talk to the audience. That was a really abrupt ending to the applause. We're gonna work on that for future guests. Chuck, welcome to the podcast. It's an honor to have you here. I'm really excited to talk to you about your university and the uniqueness that you have going on. But first, let's just talk. The general question for those that maybe have not heard of Vincennes University: where are you located? What do you do, and how do you do it?
Well, we are located in southwestern Indiana, about 120 miles southwest of Indianapolis, about an hour north of Evansville, right on the Wabash River, in fact, right on the Illinois state line. Vincennes University is the oldest institution of higher education in Indiana, and one of the oldest in the country. We were founded in 1801 by William Henry Harrison when he was a territorial governor of the Indiana Territory. And from the first 75 or 80 years of our life, we were primarily a 4-year institution. And then in 1889, the state of Indiana chartered us as a 2-year school. So we've actually been a junior college. We may be the oldest junior college in the United States, depending on how you count that, but we trace our date to 1889. And since 1889, we've been primarily a 2-year associate degree granting school. And then in 2005, we began offering a limited set of baccalaureate degrees through our university. Our Vincennes campus is a residential campus, which is also unique among mostly 2-year schools. And we have about 15,000 students across several different locations in Indiana, online, and at several military locations around the country.
So give us the skinny on return to university here, how it's going with residential focus. Obviously, repopulating campus is an important step for those that have that aren't specifically or completely in the online space. I talked to a lot of college and university presidents who are just, step by step. Everybody's kind of got a different plan. Can you give us a once over? How are you guys doing? How are you doing it?
Well, we came back and with some modification to our normal practices. We're still masking. We're still requiring social distancing. We're limiting some of our gathering sizes and things, but everything is back to pretty much a face-to-face environment. Last year we were a little more hybrid, and this year we decided that we would just go ahead and try to make it work. And many of the programs we offer, some of the technical programs, the hands-on learning type programs, just don't operate well in a hybrid or virtual environment. And we need to have, if you're going to be a CNC machinist, you need to be able to get in there and run those machines and learn how they work. You need to be able to measure your parts. If you're going to be a diesel mechanic or a a maintenance technician for robotics in manufacturing logistics, you need to be able to get your hands on the equipment and see how it works. And so for a lot of our programs, this is the best way for them to learn. And we're doing our best to thread the needle and keep it going. We've had a few more cases this year than last due to the Delta variant, but we feel we've peaked and are now kind of back to a more stable environment.
I love that you say thread the needle, because it's like that specific, right? You're just trying to get everything so right to thread that needle with your operations. I'm curious on the students, or how aware are they? The reason I ask is because my institution that I work for is completely online, degree granting at graduate level programs. So I don't see a lot of students these days like I used to. And I'm wondering, when they're coming to campus, are they very aware and careful of all of the distancing and masking and so on? Or is it I don't want to say disregard, but is it a tiredness of following those types of rules, or is everybody very hyper aware still?
There is a fatigue this year, and I would say it's not just with the students, it's with all of us. We reverted our mask policy. We had been following and continue to follow CDC guidance on this. And earlier in the summer, we had lifted our mask mandate for those who were vaccinated and made it optional for them, but still required those who had not been vaccinated to mask up. And that seemed to be feeling more and more like normal. But then in early August, with the new guidance from the CDC, we reinstated our more strict mask mandate. And I can tell people are tired. Students are still trying. They're doing a pretty good job. But you see the mask slipping below the nose a little bit more often than we did this time last year. And we do seem to have, I guess, some folks, some pockets of, I would say, resistance for other than health reasons. And but I think for the most part, everyone is understanding this is how we got to do it. This is the only way we can maintain the quality of the educational experience that the students expect and are paying for. And I think we're getting pretty good compliance. And I'm hopeful with cooler weather on the way that masks will be a little more comfortable for people to wear.
Yeah, you hope, right? And then the with the cold weather, hopefully the flu doesn't come and cause a bunch of disruption and mix with coronavirus. It's always a fear of any administrator, is how the cold weather bugs mix with the current bugs, as it were. We all watched that. I think it was last year when everybody not everybody, but a lot of schools sent their kids home, or adults, doesn't matter what kind of school you were, for the Thanksgiving holiday, and had them stay at home till after January. We'll see if this year brings that same level of oversight. But I want to ask you about the career and workforce training piece of Vincennes University, because you guys do some really innovative stuff. And I was looking through that this piece of your website, and I see next level jobs, and I click on it and I check it out, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, this is awesome. Next level jobs. You want to talk about that for a little bit?
Sure. Next Level Jobs is actually an initiative from the governor's office, helping to provide funding primarily for adults who are wanting to get a skill level to help them move to the next phase of their career, get a new skill, maybe restart their careers. It pays for short-term credentials, those of about a semester or less, which we have a number of certification programs and other programs that fit into that. And it's a great resource, a great source of funding to help folks take advantage of, in addition to any other federal funding they may be eligible for. And it really focuses on some of these high need, high wage jobs that Indiana has across a wide spectrum, from cybersecurity and IT to health careers to manufacturing to logistics. And the goal really is to get more folks skilled up to a level that their careers will have a future for them, perhaps as we see technology and other factors driving jobs to be more and more needful of a credential beyond high school. And so it's been a great initiative. VU has been a proud partner in that program, and it fits very squarely in what we've always done. We're very, very focused on workforce training and workforce education. We work with a lot of our partner institutions and employers around the state. We've been the lead in the Federation for Advanced Manufacturing Education in Indiana. We have 3 chapters that we work with here, led by Toyota, and our great partnership with them that we've done for now 9 years.
I read about that. It's really cool.
It's been a great partnership, and that's led to other programs that mirror the model but are unique to a location. For example, in our Jasper, Indiana campus, which has no large employer like a Toyota, but has several medium to smaller employers. We work with a collective of about 7 companies in that partnership and do something very similar in that community. And it's in advanced manufacturing and automation in the automotive sector, in furniture making, which is a big industry there, in electronics, in the food processing area, and agribusiness, and many other areas. And so it's nice to see that model proliferate. We do something very similar with companies in the Lafayette, Indiana area, where Subaru and Caterpillar have large operations, and several other companies, about a dozen or so, work with us there. And the great thing about that is we sit around the table and we talk with these employers about what they need. And in most cases, VU is brought to the table because they're very happy with the graduates that they've hired. But then we find ways to work with them to customize or focus the delivery of the program in a way that makes sense for them. And we do some hybrid teaching. Maybe some things are happening on the Vincennes campus where we have large labs and facilities, and some things are happening on site at the training location, or even at the manufacturing site. And then
how great is the need, Chuck, for good workers right now from the input you're getting from those manufacturers and companies? Are they short on staff? Are they looking for great people 24/7? Are you able to spit them out fast enough?
It's huge. In fact, that's just one piece of what we do, right? We also, like with Toyota, for example, and with others, in addition to doing these pipeline building programs with traditional academic credentials, we do 16-week training programs that are intended to take incumbent workers and put them through the basics of that same kind of mechatronics education, so that they're taking people that they're investing in and skilling them up to be able to take on those maintenance type roles. And then most recently, we've been in discussions with one of our partners about creating a one-year version of the AMT FAME program that speeds things up even more. And then we're building.
Is it an academic credit certificate or like a non-credit certificate?
It would be an academic credit certificate in that case. Be a certificate of graduation that stacks into an associate degree if a person wants to continue. And then we take this into our high schools. We work with about 18 career centers around the state of Indiana, delivering Vincennes University education in a wide range of areas at those centers. And we partner with the school districts, we partner with the career centers. We've put about $8 million worth of equipment into those centers in the last 8 years, thanks in large part to support from the state of Indiana to help us lift up the quality of that education. And it stacks right into our credentials, our associate degrees, which are then stackable into either our bachelor's degrees or bachelor's degrees from places like Purdue or University of Southern Indiana or Indiana State or others. So, the whole thing is creating this kind of supply chain, if you will, of workers, and we get them from different pieces and different parts to get them to that endpoint, because the need is so great. Last year, in the middle of the pandemic, we were the first school in the country to launch a nationwide apprenticeship program with Amazon in the mechatronics and automation area. And that's been such an exciting thing to have over 300 graduates of that 12-week intensive Tech 1 training. And then we are also rolling out the first Tech 2 training with them. And they're now working with about another 4 or 5 schools around the country, but VU was the first that they came to. And that has been a tremendously rewarding thing to see the quality of the work that our faculty and staff have done over the years be recognized by a leading employer like Amazon to help fulfill a critical need in this mechatronics and automation area. And we've done it with Cummins and a diesel technician apprenticeship program, where we do a 12-state region around the central part of the country. And they send students to campus for a few weeks at a time, and they put them out in the field for a few weeks at a time. They keep coming back and forth. And over a 4-year period, they get their DOL journeyman's card, and then they also get an associate degree from Vincennes University, and they have great career opportunities out in the field. So I'm just so excited about how these models can continue to build on themselves. And what's most exciting about it, Joe, is that there's not a one-size-fits-all plug-and-play solution. We're able to customize and craft and tweak and maybe bring new things to the table. Most recently, we've been fortunate. We're building out in our automation area the use of collaborative robots and cobots. We're going to have 38 collaborative robots in various locations around the state by the end of this year, and using those to upgrade our automation and robotics to take in the next generation of what we see as the robotics in many of our industries.
It's great. What I love about the classic 2-year institution, whether they offer bachelor degrees or not, is the flexibility and the speed at which you can move, because you have those direct lines with employers, because those employers are looking for people to come out with that associate degree and start working. They tell you what they want. And it's, as a university, you can customize, like you said, and it's that customizable education that I think is a big differentiator for schools and will be because students want a practical education. They want to be able to build a skill set and go get a job, right? In many respects.
Absolutely. And that's the key. I'm sorry. That's the key. I mean, the beautiful thing about this is if we have employers at the table and we're able to deliver on the education and training that they need, and we have the ability then to draw the people into the pipeline because they see there's an immediate payoff that's almost certain for them if they come and do what they're supposed to do. And so that's the beauty of it is that it's not like, I'm taking a big bet here that I'm not going to be successful. If I come and I do what is expected of me, I got a job. I've got a good paying job and a career path.
So you guys are, I guess if you go southeast, you're in Louisville. If you go northeast, you're in Indianapolis, it looks like.
Yes, that'd be about right. Yeah.
You're kind of in it's almost like a triangle, and you guys are at the tip of a triangle. Rural area is more rural. Would you consider Vincennes a rural university?
Yes, we're in a smallish city, about 18,000 people. Like I said, about an hour away from Evansville, Indiana, which would be the closest city of any size. It's about 125,000 people. And so we are a little more isolated from that standpoint, but we are in the heartland for automation, for manufacturing. Advanced manufacturing is big in Indiana. We have the most manufacturing intensive economy of any of the 50 United States. So it's big for us. We have great agribusiness and a lot of related industries there. We do a program, a diesel technician program with John Deere, where we, again, do something very similar to the Cummins program, support farm machinery and agribusiness equipment. So it's a lot of different things, and we are a little bit isolated in some ways, but with these partnerships, we're out and about taking the training, taking the education to the employers. Just this past year, we launched a FAME AMT program in Central Indiana with Indianapolis and Anderson, Indiana chapters, and we're doing it at our aviation technology site in Indianapolis on the west side of Indianapolis. And we're willing to kind of build out where we can, being mindful of the fact that we don't necessarily want to replicate all the investment we've made, say, in a Vincennes campus in 17 different locations around the state. So we're looking at how do we use a hub and spoke type of approach to be able to take advantage of the great investment, the huge investment that we in the state of Indiana have made in the Vincennes campus, in the labs and things that we have, but at the same time being able to take some of that out into the communities where they want that work-based learning type of experience.
If you're experiencing any level of marketing challenge right now, you've got to ask the hard questions and you need answers. Are you using the right mix of channels to get in front of your future students? Is your messaging personalized and delivered in a medium your audience and future students will respond to? And are you spending more time building reporting than listening in on what your students really want? All of these questions will get answered when you sign up for your free consultation with MDT Marketing. Head to mdtmarketing.com/edup. Submit your information and talk to MDT. Don't go it alone. Find the right partner. The guys at MDT, the team at MDT is absolutely amazing. Whether your challenge is the cost of inquiries, your branding, the bad and incomplete information that come with your inquiries, whatever it is, an audit of your challenges will help your institution, and it's free. mdtmarketing.com/edup. Chuck, this is the part of the episode where I like to say that we keep a guest on their toes. And so I'm going to ask you a question kind of unrelated to education. If you're ready for it, are you ready?
I guess.
Here we go. You're not going to win any money. I do like to play that music, though, because it kind of almost sounds like I'm asking you a question for money. No, it's this question, Chuck, just to get a sense of your personalities. You're walking around campus. Imagine that you have a portable music player of some kind, a Bose speaker in your hand, and on that speaker's your entrance music that's playing every time you walk into a room. What song is on that speaker?
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, that would be
I don't have a button that goes boom. Boom, boom. But if I might have to download one.
That would be, yeah, no more pressure than that. So I guess it would probably be something like golly.
That's all right. You can punt to the end of the episode if you'd
I'm
like.
going to punt to the end of the episode right now because I have to really think about this.
All right, and we're gonna make you answer, because if you have any staff members that hear this, it's you can be sure that music will be playing after they hear this episode. So make sure you get it right.
Okay.
You don't want to get it wrong and have a bad song playing every time you walk into a room. Let's talk your student body. I mean, you've got between 10 and 20,000 students at your various locations at the main campus, and it's in a more of a rural setting. What does student support look like through the pandemic for you guys? What's it look like now? Have you lost a lot of students? Have you gotten most of your students back? What's enrollment look like overall? And is there a big focus on re-engaging a certain population that maybe left the educational pipeline?
Well, certainly the traditional enrollments, the traditional residential students, we're down a bit this year on our Vincennes campus, pretty much flat to up on our other sites. Our online numbers, as you might expect, are up significantly, and some of that has been intentional. We've actually, because of some of the challenges of getting international students, we've actually started some international online cohorts to help them get their education started, despite the fact that they may have difficulty traveling here. So our online numbers look pretty good. Our dual credit and early college programs are bouncing back. And I think in terms of system-wide numbers, we're probably right about where we were at this point last year, maybe going to be flat overall in terms of headcount and FTE. Our census date is the 15th.
I think that's a huge accomplishment, even to be flat. I mean, you think about all of the circumstances that could have created loss, and many universities and colleges are experiencing that. So any kind of evenness or plateau is a good spot to be, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's certainly a better feeling than being down overall. We'd like to see more traditional enrollments back up where they were a few years ago, and we've got some initiatives, I think, in place to try to help do that. And of course, we're also, as we talked about, looking at maybe we need to diversify the model. Maybe we don't need to count on the traditional 18-year-old to come to campus to study. Maybe we need to build out more programs like the partnerships we have with Amazon, with Cummins, with others, where there's more of an episodic experience on campus. It may not be the full 2 years or 4 years. It may be a semester and back out in the field, or it may be a few weeks at a time and back out in the field. And if we can,
the point in time learning model,
exactly,
here at the point in time you need it. I think that is the future of how higher ed needs to move.
And I think we're starting to see some of that already, and some of that certainly being led by our employers. And I think we have some natural advantages in that with our focus on 2-year and shorter term credentials and our residential campus experience. We can provide a full package for folks who are looking for that. They don't have to look for a hotel to put people and bus them into campus or whatever. We've got it self-contained right here with all of the other amenities that would be useful to someone who's here for 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks.
Yeah, really interesting. One of the things that keeps coming up and has lately is this concept of tiredness, or I don't even know what to call it, but the staff, students, all feeling very tired with. You talked about it with maybe the coronavirus, with change. Everything kind of changes by the day or changed by the day. We've seen staff, we've seen faculty look like they're going to, and talk to even some presidents that look like they're about to fall over. They're so tired. What's keeping you up at night, Chuck, still? And why and what keeps you coming back the next day?
Well, I think the enrollment is always a focus, especially when we have programs that turn over as quickly as we do. We've had some great success in improving our on-time graduation numbers, and that is really wonderful. We're very pleased with that. We've been very intentional about that, but it also comes at a cost. That means you have to bring more people in more often because they're leaving you faster than they used to. So that making sure we have the sustainability of those numbers, the turns that we have. Clearly this year, it's keeping everybody safe so that we can keep the doors open and we can keep the classes running. We can meet the needs of our students and our employers, that we can meet their expectations. I certainly want students to look back on their time at Vincennes University and feel not just that they got through it, but that they really felt it was a valuable experience, not just in the classroom, but in terms of everything we've done to help them continue to develop and grow. And finding good talent and keeping good talent is always a challenge. Universities, like many organizations, really live and die by the quality of the faculty and the staff that they have. And we've got some tremendous people But we're thin, like a lot of organizations, we're thin. And so we lose a good person. We've got to make sure we find a good
capacity is always the issue, right?
Exactly. So
talk about your esports program a little bit. I love esports. I'm a gamer myself, got to be honest. We even have an esports, EdUp Esports podcast, believe it or not, where we bring on, hosted by Jerry Sanchez, who brings on esports leaders from across the country. Talk about esports, its impact on the university. How popular is it? Is it growing in popularity? Where's that sit in terms of part of your strategic plan?
Well, last year was our first year to have an intercollegiate NJCAA team, and they did pretty well. But this year, I think it's kind of a rebuilding year, I guess, as coaches always talk about. It's a great thing. We think it's a nice complement to our IT programs and drawing the kind of talent that we're trying to get for our students there, giving them a creative and team-based outlet there. The students really seem to enjoy that complementary experience. It's something I think that will continue to grow for us. We hope to be competitive again in terms of our intercollegiate schedule. But the biggest thing I want students to, as I said before, have that as a fond remembrance and a great experience and just a rich part of their VU education. So my hope is that we continue to grow it. We use it not only to attract students in IT, but we use it to attract students across the various programs that we offer who have this kind of an interest in capability.
I'm just firing questions at you right now. I'm going to, but it's fascinating. You touched on non-credit, you touched on credit. We talk about associate degrees, talk about, certificate training. What's the fastest growing part of Vincennes University? Is it the associate degrees? Is it the bachelor degrees? Is it the non-credit certificate, interest? Where's the part of your program mix that you go, okay, this is going great?
I would say it is not degree or certificate level specific, but it is work-based learning experiences. I think we'll have between some of our apprenticeship programs around the state and our Amazon program and our other work-based learning programs, we'll probably have even our high school work-based learning programs that we're building. We'll probably have between 1,500 and 2,000 students in some form of a work-based learning program this year. And
that's because they come in going, hey, look, I'd love to get an associate degree, but I want to work. I want to get the skills I need to start working. Maybe I'll come back later. Is that how, how they come in, these students?
That's very much a part of it. Or the employer recruits them and says, this is the program we're going to put you through. Or we are out in the field recruiting with the employers and we're selling them on the educational experience and the employer's selling them on the career opportunity, and how the work-based learning kind of complements the education and vice versa. And I think it really has taken a team approach. We are so fortunate to have great industry partners who are out there helping us to build the pipeline that they need. They value what Vincennes University brings to the table. We value greatly the opportunity to be able to provide our graduates, our students, with that career path and that opportunity that is there. So it is a wonderful way to come together. One of the challenges, of course, is that we just aren't getting enough. I mean, the pipelines could be fuller if we could see more folks wanting to enter them. And one of my concerns is in Indiana, the high school going rate, even before the pandemic, the high school to college going rate was below 60%, dropped to 59% in 2019. That's not a trend, combined with modest to little population growth over the next few years. That's not a trend that's boding well for traditional types of enrollment. So we've got to find a way to engage those folks in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's so key. They're talking about the 2025, 2026 enrollment cliff. There's just going to be less high school students coming in and looking at college. That's a big concern, especially for two-year colleges, because, and you said it, right? There's I don't want to call it churn, but the student is coming in and leaving faster. So your enrollment pressures are greater to refill that seat or fill that seat with a new student than if you stick them in a 4-year program. You can kind of sit back for just a little bit. It is more of a upfront pressure, certainly. And if that market of student, the quote unquote traditional student, is not there, you do have to look and expanding revenue opportunities to the adult student market. And then your marketing is changing because the messaging is different. That's a whole nother issue. And to your point, Chuck, there's capacity issues for most universities. And right. How do you do all of these things at the same time? I guess that's why you're the president, because you get to figure all that stuff out.
Well, it's, we pride ourselves, and I think we've demonstrated to our employer partners and others our nimbleness, right? And so I think one of the things that we want to be is we want to make sure that whatever we do is the highest quality we can do it. And I think that gives you the opportunity to be at so many other tables. If they respect the quality of what you produce, then you get invited to a lot more conversations. And so that's always going to be job number one for us, is make sure that whatever we're doing is of the highest possible quality, that our graduates are well prepared, that they're well regarded, that they're sought after. And that really drives what we do. And then looking at, do we need to diversify? Well, let's diversify in things that we know we have some competitive advantages in. Let's diversify in things that we feel like we do really well compared to maybe some others. And so we can be at new tables with those kinds of things. And then the final thing is being flexible in terms of where we're offering the programming. As I mentioned, we're in 18 different career centers around the state of Indiana, offering the foundations for a lot of our programs there to give folks a start. Some of them are going to come on to Vincennes University, some of them may not, but we're at least giving them an opportunity and hopefully helping putting them on a good path that way. And if we get them to end up at Vincennes University at some point in time, then that's a good investment on our part as well.
Well, Chuck, we've covered a lot of ground, and I don't know if you know this, but my producer and co-founder Elvin Freitas gives me the questions to ask, and so I always make that disclaimer because of this question, which is, what didn't Elvin? Because he failed. If I didn't ask you a question I was supposed to ask you, it's Elvin's fault. I'd just like to say that right now. So what should Elvin have told me to ask you that he didn't tell me to do? So what do we need to know about Vincennes University that we didn't discuss? Anything you have going on, events, anything at all, news, whatever. It's your chance to plug your university. What do you guys have going on? Anything you want to say?
Well, I think on our Vincennes campus in particular, we offer a real college experience with intercollegiate sports, including several national champions. Our men's basketball team last won their national championship in 2019. It was our fourth, and we've got a storied history in many of our athletic pursuits, including 21 national championships in men's bowling. So
nice.
not probably something that many people will know, or maybe even find out unless they hear this, but we just take great pride in the quality of the experience. And I think the difference for us, why our on-time graduation rate for associate degrees is about 2.5 times the national average for community colleges, is largely because of the environment. We bring people to a campus environment, we give them a real experience, we give them a great academic foundation, we take a great interest in their success. I've never been at a university, I've worked at 4 universities now, I've never been at a university that is more focused from every single person's viewpoint on student success. And a predecessor of mine, a legendary president at Vincennes University, Dr. Isaac Beckus, famously said that we meet people where they are and take them where they need to go. And it's not about lowering the bar, it's about finding different ways to get over the bar. And I'm so proud of our institution's commitment to that.
Too often the bar is lowered, and more often it's about providing people with the services they need to reach a new high, a new goal. I think I love that statement that you just brought forward, Chuck, and I'm glad you operate with that at your core. It's telling why Vincennes is doing well, and why you guys are, I always say the first step in growing enrollment is to go flat. Right? Get to where enrollment is flat, and then you can grow it, especially when so many schools have been affected by coronavirus, continuously affected by coronavirus. Who knows how long this is going to last? Certainly, personal risk tolerance is variable. Everybody's got a different perspective on what they're willing to take on, as it were. But I really appreciate you coming on, Chuck. It's been a pleasure to hear about the university. But before I let you off the hook completely, I'm going to ask you one more question. It's the most important one. It's the one that we're going to quote you when we actually put you on social media. We're going to quote you word for word on this. So make sure you're ready. No pressure. We really won't do that. But just, I like to set it up so you get it right. What is the future of higher education going to look like?
Well, I feel like that we are living the future in many ways, right? It is not it is constant reinvention, it's constant experimentation, It's new models. It's blurring the lines between K-12 and post-secondary. It's blurring the lines between the world of work and in higher education. It's more episodic. It's more short course combined with stackability so that there's always an opportunity for a person to move to that next level of a credential. And it's trying to find ways to reach populations of individuals for whom higher education may not be as accessible, and certainly not high quality higher education may not be within their reach now. So how do we get to them? Maybe more hybridization, maybe more tools that will help us to understand and predictively see when students might be reaching a point where they're going to reach failure if we don't make a corrective action or help them find resources. I think it's a lot of things coming together at the same time. It's looking at demographics and recognizing that we can't probably sustain our institutions by taking traditional populations alone. We've got to find ways to reach newer populations, and that higher education is a journey and not an outcome for a lot of our folks, that they're going to be continually learning, and we need to figure out how we can be a part of that journey for them going forward.
I love it. I love that your tagline too is blaze your trail.
Yes.
Don't just follow the path, blaze the trail. Oh, love it. That's great. Great marketing. It's great mission. It's just a great message to students that are looking to be our future leaders, which is important, right? We want people that are going to change the world. And that's what we're doing as educators, is hopefully arming them with the tools that they need to go and do that. I'm going to just, let me, I'm going to hit this button for you, Chuck, because you're just so impactful. That's our mic drop moment here. We're going to hit the air horn for you here. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Chuck Johnson. It's been an absolute honor to have you on, president of Vincennes University. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe. I greatly appreciate the opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've just EdUp'd. Are you using the right mix of channels to get in front of your audience? Is your messaging personalized and delivered in a medium your audience responds to? Are you spending more time building reports than listening in on what your audience wants? These are not easy questions to answer. That's why our great friends at MDT Marketing are offering a free audit of your marketing efforts. Head to www.mdtmarketing.com/edup and submit your information for your free consultation today. Look, guys, you got nothing to lose. It's free. I don't know why you wouldn't want a free audit to tell you what you're doing, whether it's effective, and how you can make some incremental changes that can make a big difference moving forward. That's www.mdtmarketing.com/edup.